the production there as well. So I've been around for a while, casted a couple of WCS things as well, and I'm really actually excited for this ZvZ that's about to pop up for us. We have two amazing players. We have Snute, who is a roach-intensive player. I've never seen so many players open up roaches, unlike Snute. And then, of course, viOLet himself, who I actually get a little bit of pleasure in watching him. I've seen him play him dailies from a year ago when he was first trying to make Hydras work in ZvZ. This guy has come so far, and it's so fantastic to be able to watch him and see him do so well in the tournaments he's been doing for literally the last 8 to 10 months.
No kidding, and he has already had an impressive run through this tournament. He's been knocking out top-level nerds left and right, so we'll see what he can do now, and please go ahead and introduce our players.
Sure. In the top right corner, our red Zerg player is going to be Snute. Hailed as one of the best European Zergs. He's actually started playing at the end of 2011. He actually played in WCG and actually was knocked out by Shigwa, who is actually doing pretty well in our tournament today. In the very far bottom left corner, it's going to be viOLet. Most recent tournament was Lone Star Clash 2. He actually got 2 rounds from the grand finals. He was actually knocked out by Bomber, who took 2nd place. But nonetheless, viOLet is a fantastic Zerg, and I really want to see what he has planned out for Snute. Like I said, Snute really loves to open up with roaches.
So guys, if you're curious about the caster contest, what's going to happen is we have our final 4 casters right here. Give us an indication as to who you like on Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us at IGN Pro League, hashtag IPL Robin in this case, if you're a fan of his casting. And what's going to happen is we're going through a series of interviews this weekend, and one of these 4 casters is actually going to join the IGN Pro League full-time as a full-time caster. So quite a big deal, and we certainly want your input into this process as well. But for now, we've got ourselves a ZvZ.
Well, in the bottom left corner so far, both players are joining up, going to that 14-15 drone mark. And I was actually a little bit curious. I see Snute open up a lot on this map with a 9 pool. It really fits well with his road style because you put a little bit of aggression on your opponent, so it forces him to play a little bit more defensively, get an earlier pool in the series. And that way he can open up roaches and play defensive from there and macro up really heavily and follow up with a layer timing attack, usually +1 with speed. But nonetheless, he's going to go ahead and open up with a 15 pool, it looks like. So he should be all right. Again, 15 pool isn't going to set you too far back when it comes to economy. It's a nice opening. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and, you know, there's something to be said for prioritizing out those couple of queens and zerglings a little bit early to take map control and make sure you shut down your opponent a bit early on. So, but we do have contrasting styles already. A lot of Zerg players, even those that do decide to go for pool first, will tend to actually jump for a hatch first on this map, given the walk distances. viOLet actually going to take the other extreme end. He is actually going to go hatch first, followed up by gas, then pool afterwards, so he gets that Zergling speed out nice and early.
Yeah, I'm wondering if viOLet actually did his homework last night, because he's going gas first, which means, of course, that he kind of knows that Snute likes to open up the roach style. There's a lot of 2-base Ling timing attacks that are very, very strong that you can knock out a roach opening with. You can, especially if you get into the main. Of course, it takes 3 roaches to block off that ramp, but if you miscue it with 1 roach being out of place, Lings will devastate your economy. So viOLet looking to get that speed as fast as possible, maybe exploit any mistakes that Snute makes.
Okay, well, we'll see how if Snute actually makes any mistakes, because as we mentioned before, this guy has been playing really well. I've got to say both of these guys, really. You know, viOLet's the kind of player who he competes at a lot of large international events and things like that. Then for about 2 or 3 months, he'll kind of fly under the radar, wait for a little while, then pop back up and start devastating people again. And this looks like that tournament that he's starting to devastate people at again.
I agree with you, man. Both these players, it's impossible to predict who's going to win. Even Snute himself just played in DreamHack last week, and he actually made it to the quarterfinals. Unfortunately, he did fall to Hero 3-0, but Hero was just he was on fire in DreamHack, man. It's just one of his tournaments that he just doesn't have nerve issues. He's also doing really well in IPL as well. I'm so happy for the guy. But
yeah, the winner of this actually plays Hero in the next round.
So fun. That's gonna be. I don't even want to think about that for these guys. But yeah, Snute played TLO before that match and actually beat him 3-1 with a variety of strategies. So it looks like we're gonna have a little bit of a scuffle here and some nice micro from both players. It's gonna be a treat, guys, to watch these guys with micro. They save the most ridiculous units. Look at that drone on 4 HP, and potentially it could have died if it wasn't dealt with correctly.
Yeah.
Queen's now popping out, and players busting out that Lamarva ejects. 27 to 22 harvesters, and usually you don't want to see in a ZvZ someone be too far ahead. You want to have 3 to 4 drones at most.
That's right. Worker counts can differ if you have a non-mirror matchup. Let's say in a TvZ, for example, the turn doesn't have to have equal SCVs to drones because they have the mule mechanic. They don't necessarily need that sort of income and ability to switch on and produce out of a billion larvae at the same time anyway. But in mirror matchups, it is very critical, depending on what you're going with here. Double gas coming out for Snute, and following that up, of course, with his trademark Roach Warren, so no real surprise out of him so far, going up to quad gas in total, while viOLet just kind of sits back, waits, drones up, and finishes up that speed.
Yeah, viOLet seems to really enjoy the 8 muta opening on a lot of his ZvZ matches, so I'm really curious as to when he gets that layered down. Looking at the 4 gases from Snute that did pop up, he's got the 3rd and 4th. Oh, he canceled them, actually. He showed them to the drone scout that came in. Smart play there. I was going to say maybe he was going to go for double evolution chamber, which is pretty strong with roaches, but you need 4 gases to do it. You can't do it off 3. If you do 3, you can only get 1 upgrade. But he's going to stay with 2, which is really, really interesting here with him going roaches. So it kind of leads itself to more of a macro-oriented game. He's going to have a lot of minerals stacking up, and maybe he wants to get a 3rd pretty early.
Well, viOLet now has decided to go for his lair. He's on 100, or he decided to continue with 1 drone in gas basically the entire time, so he could prioritize that nice and early. Evolution Chamber and Roach Horde coming up with for him along with his 3rd base. But Snute going to put on a bit of pressure here in just a second. He's got a lot of roaches coming up. His zergling speed obviously quite far behind. He's still got another 55 seconds before that finishes up, but he will have the potential to just put on some pressure immediately with these roaches, especially with the investment that viOLet's making into upgrades, into his layer tech, Roach Horde, 3rd base. All of that came at the cost of a couple of units.
I like where he's hiding the roaches. He's putting them behind this hatchery at the natural. At around like 650, you usually have an overlord that's sacrificed into the main to get an idea of the gas timings when layer finishes up. Unfortunately, viOLet's not going for that route though. He's going to bring in some lings in. Ooh, he might get this queen. It's going to slow down that creep spread that Snute likes to use because it gets the roaches across the middle of the map faster. It's going to snipe it and pull on back, and there goes the overlord in the natural. He sees the roaches, and from here we should see lings being created for viOLet and potentially even a couple spine crawlers. Yeah,
I mean, he's actually got a couple of roaches coming up just for the time being, along with his upgrades for now, and he looks like he may be able to take out 2 queens immediately. He does, so he's already done economic damage with just a handful of forces that he had on the map.
That significantly holds Snute push down quite a lot. He's actually going for a bailing nest, which means he kind of wants to end this game pretty early. But without him having that larva inject, that's going to be significantly a lot of less lings, and have to stick with it on roaches. And roaches don't get across the map too fast. But here we go. Roaches and lings moving in forward. Going to go ahead and grab that ramp and block it off. There is a lot of units here. Going to go straight for the queen there. Nice play. And it looks like Snute is doing a nice amount of aggression. Drones have him pulled off the line. And viOLet's got a nice little concave, if you will. And it looks like he might just barely hold this, but remember, there are reinforcements on the way.
There are reinforcements coming up, but despite the bailing nest, Snute has not decided to morph in any bailings yet. He's not decided that he wants to just outright end the game right now, and he's actually committing with a lot of units before he gets the rest of his zerglings in here. Now they're finally tearing after a couple of drones to do some economic damage, but all of the roaches up at the front have been stomped flat. Total economic damage, 16 workers killed. Overall, 45 drones to 31. That does give Snute a bit of an advantage in the overall economy, but of course, viOLet does have his 3rd base down, can utilize that to try and catch up a little bit.
And he has 14 to 4 roaches at the moment. That's a pretty big disparity. And +1's about to finish up, and speed as well. He's going to have an easy job hugging up on any roaches that Snute might have at his natural. So Snute going to go ahead and keep up aggression here and try and make his opponent come back and defend it while he tries to get an army up. But remember, with that 3rd up for viOLet, he's got a lot of larvae available. He's going to be having a lot of lings maybe pummeling across the middle of the map, or he could drone up behind it, which he's doing now. +7 drones on the way, and now roaches at the front door of Snute.
That's right. A lot of spine crawlers, a lot of roaches being created for Snute right now, but he needs them in a hurry because he had 0 before that newest round did just pop out. So he has got almost no defense. Finally doing a very nice job actually picking off the spine crawler before it's actually able to make its way in. Picks off that queen too. There's GG. viOLet takes game number 1 of this best of 3.
Yeah, Snute went for a very all-in